All right, well, we do have a quorum now, and it is 6:01, so I would like to get started, if that's all right with you.
That's fine with me.
All right. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Easthampton Conservation Commission will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found below. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the City of Easthampton website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. Should an interruption occur in which the meeting ends abruptly, the meeting will not be restarted and all agenda items will be automatically continued to the next scheduled meeting. I will now call to order the April 12, 2021 meeting of the Easthampton Conservation Commission. This meeting is being recorded. Are there any public concerns, non-agenda items?
I haven't received any. I did receive a request to take item 7L out of order for the 50 Florence project, just so that that's the only project that has someone in attendance for it. So.
Okay. All right. So is there a motion to take item 7L, Beacon Solar LLC, Mass DEP file number 151304 out of agenda order?
A motion to take 7L out of order.
Second.
All those in favor, roll call vote. August?
Aye.
Yusa?
Aye.
Buttrick? Buttrick? Please let the record reflect that Commissioner Buttrick's audio is not working and he gave a thumbs up as his vote. Perhaps if you could vote in the chat function for the record transcript, that would be helpful. And Commissioner Whittemore is
Still absent as far as
not present at this time. However, we do have a majority, so motion carries. We will take item 7L out of order. Beacon Solar LLC, Mass DEP file number 151304 for the large-scale solar project located at 50 Florence Road, map 115, lots 2 and 5. Is there someone who'd like to speak to this item? Please introduce yourself for the record.
My name is Brad Saunders from
Can I hold on just a second? Deb wanted to make a note, if it's possible, before we get started.
Oh,
Yes, I'd like to recuse myself tonight from the Beacon Solar amendment request.
okay. Thank you, Deb.
Thank you.
Sorry, Mr. Saunders, go ahead.
That's fine. Again, my name's Brad Saunders. I'm with GEI Consultants and representing Beacon Solar LLC. What we have this evening to discuss is a proposed change in the form and layout of the solar project that was approved back in the fall of 2019. At the time, that was going to be a fixed panel solar project. They now have, because of improvements and financial situations with the solar industry, they're able to now propose a tracking panel system. When you have a tracking system, it tracks the sun east to west and it maximizes the efficiency of the solar collection. But as a result, we need to change the orientation of the panels from an east-west alignment to a north-south alignment. And when you change those alignments, there are some changes in grading and changes in actual locations of the panels. which change what is being proposed within the 100-foot zone of the wetlands. Cassie, do you have a plan that you can share? At least the first one, the first figure.
I do. Hold on just a second. I'll pull it up. And I just want to make a note that this consideration is for if it's appropriate to pursue an amended order of petitions versus a new NOI, not whether, not just the changes as they are. So I just wanted to make that note, but let me pull it up real quick.
Thank you.
Yeah, do you want me to, is just this one start here and we can
Yeah, we
scroll
can
through?
start right there.
Okay, I'm going to zoom in
Start
on
with
that.
There we go. That's great. Okay, there are two basic panel arrays on the site. There's the north array, which is this one, and the south array, which we'll get to. What this figure indicates is the changes that are being proposed. And as Cassie mentioned, what we're asking for this evening is whether we can do this as an amended order of conditions following a hearing on that, or whether a whole new notice of intent would be required. So what we're showing on this graphic is in green. Can we go down? I think you're going to need to shrink this. So there we go. Green is where we are now proposing to put some panels within the 100-foot zone that were not proposed before. The yellow is an area where we were putting panels and grading in 2019. And the orange is where we have new proposed grading to make the tracking panels work. As was committed the last time, there will be no work within 25 feet of the border of a bordering vegetated wetland or any wetland on the site. The driveway, I think some of you who were on the commission at the time remember that we went through a process of examining the existing culverts on the site to determine whether we needed to make any changes or replacements on that. It was determined after a detailed examination of them that we did not need to change the culverts that are out there, and we're still not proposing to do anything with that. The roadway is essentially in the same alignment. It's exactly the same alignment where it crosses the wetlands and the culverts. There is a stretch right there. If you could go back up with your arrow, you had it. There we go. Where you can see the road takes a bend. That bend is different than in the one that's been approved. The existing plan has a straight line through there for the roadway. That road now has the bend, but most of that is outside of the 100-foot zone. And again, that roadway is just an aggregate material. It's not going to be paved. So on this figure, you can see where the changes are being proposed in the north array. And again, it's we're staying 25 feet back. There's no change in that regard. Can we go down to the next figure, please, Cassie? Okay, this is down in the south array. You can see that there is some small changes at the outer reaches of the 100-foot buffer zone. One other thing we're changing with this layout is we need to change the locations of the equipment pads. But they're still going to be more than 100 feet away from wetland boundaries. So they're outside of the buffer zone. And I guess we can go down to the last one. So this shows just a little bit more where some changes are being proposed. In total, as I put in the cover letter, there is some change in grading within the 100-foot zone. The existing order of conditions anticipated almost 15,000 square feet of grading area. The proposed amendment would have 41,770 square feet. And we also have some additional solar panel surfaces within the 100-foot zone. But again, as you can pretty much see on this figure that's up right now, the green areas show where we've got additional panels. Those are primarily towards the outer reach of the 100-foot buffer. But we do have 48,000 square feet of that area. And in the original plan, under the existing order of conditions, there was no situation where we had only panels. We had panels in the areas where we were doing grading. So the table that I included in the cover letter shows that we have no solar panels only under the current plan. But there were, in fact, solar panels. They were just in the areas where we were also doing some grading. We didn't want to double dip on the numbers there. Couple other things with the change in the solar panel system from fixed to tracking. We'll be able to increase the power output from this facility to 5 megawatts from 4. So again, it's the greater efficiency in a tracking system versus a fixed system. I've already mentioned that we're staying the 25 feet back. There's no change in the driveway crossings. The equipment pads are located outside of the 100-foot zone as they were before. So the changes are grading and panels within the 100-foot buffer. And I'm happy to answer any questions to the best of my ability.
One thing I just wanted to add that we had talked about, Brad, was also that in the project narrative of the original order of conditions, it references a 50-foot setback, but you were able to provide information from a letter with DEP that kind of remarked upon how it was supposed to be a 25-foot setback. And then also I was able to find the minutes reflected that in the discussion as well. I don't know if you can still include that in this request for
yes, yeah. Yeah.
Just another thing.
I would like to include that in the request. There are a couple of inaccuracies in the existing order of conditions. They relate to the fact that the order, the notice of intent that was submitted, the designs evolved a little bit during the process of review. So there are some numbers in there, such as areas of impact to land under water bodies and waterways and bank, which are not being proposed because we no longer needed to replace the culverts after we had taken a look at those in greater detail. So there's numbers in there like that that really don't apply to the project as it was ultimately approved. And the other was there was to be a 50-foot setback was identified in the original project description that was part of the notice of intent. And that related to solar panels and the solar panel racks, not necessarily grading or other activities like the fencing and that kind of thing, which were always going to be within the 50-foot zone. But as a result of, again, changes that occurred during the review, there were, in fact, some panels that were put within 50 feet of the wetland buffer, of the wetland boundaries. So I'd like to have that addressed also in an amended order if that's one that we can have done.
Are there questions from members? Commissioner Busa, you have the floor.
Yeah, I don't recall. Do we have any perennial streams here at the crossings, or was this all intermittent?
Yeah, Cassie, if you can point to it up in the upper left-hand corner of this figure, you see a darker line that's like a half moon right up in the corner of the property. There you go. That one right there. That's the 200-foot setback from a perennial stream, which is well off the site.
So is any of the additional 30-some thousand square feet of grading within riverfront?
No.
Thank you.
And in fact, one thing I should also point out is there's no change in the location of the arrays. They're still in the same locations as they were before. So all of the setbacks that we had from, for instance, the 200-foot riverfront area up there in that other corner remain the same. We're also not going to be affecting any more trees. The same number of trees and the same trees, in fact, that were going to have to be removed for the original approval remain the same here. They're under the left-hand side array on this figure. You can see there's a little tree line in there in the middle. I think there were 10 trees in there.
So I guess I just want to ask a point of clarification, because this is being done under the updates, and this has not been formally submitted as a request at this time. Is that correct? Okay.
That's correct.
All right. Are there questions from other members of the board? So if there aren't at this time, I guess I would like to suggest that members of the board review DEP's policy regarding amending orders of conditions. This is a process that's not really laid out in the regulations. Call it poor planning. So DEP established this policy in 1985. It's DWW policy 85-4. And it's the guideline commissions have relative to considering requests for amended orders of conditions. So I guess if folks have not taken a look at that or looked at it recently, I would hope that you could take a look at that tonight.
Yeah, and just to add to that, if you guys have access to your email, there's a link to that in the email if anybody wants to pull it up now or whatever.
So I guess the part that I'm concerned about has to do with not just the almost threefold increase in work in buffer zone. It's a significant increase in work in buffer zone. How has the stormwater, has there been any discussion of how the stormwater management's been adjusted, or has it been?
No, because as a solar project, it doesn't generate stormwater runoff. There is the state DEP policy on stormwater generation from solar projects. This project did not have, as a result, any stormwater management system per se. There's no detention basins or anything like that. Again, the existing site is essentially open field, except for those 10 trees. The panels are going into the open fields.
So you provided a lot of numbers. So
no, I know.
What is?
Well, I want to give you everything that we got.
So what is the total footprint of work? Buffer zone and outside buffer zone? What's the cumulative footprint of work for the project versus what was proposed and approved in 2019?
Well, I haven't broken it down that way. What I did is looked at the change. So for instance, there's driveway within the buffer. And that hasn't changed. So the same numbers that were provided in 2019 remain. There's work like the panels themselves, which there is a change, and that's why I provided that information. There's a change in grading. And so I guess it's a question of adding them up in total, but the change should be essentially what I'm showing in this cover letter. So the overall change in disturbance, and again, we did it back in 2019. We did the disturbance by particular, the numbers per different type of disturbance. And so it's not like there's a simple overall number.
But the increase.
There's 28.8 acres of 100-foot buffer zone on the site.
But the increase in work in buffer zone alone is roughly 26,770 square feet. I think you said there was about 15 in the original order and 41,770 in this redesign.
No.
No, I misunderstand.
Yeah, no, I understand the confusion. There's a difference in grading. So again, if we break down an activity to grading versus solar panels, because we're doing a number of solar panels, but there's no grading is required. It can be placed at the existing grades out there. So the change in grading within the 100-foot zone would be 41,770 minus 14,837.
So about 26,000?
Right, but that's just grading.
Okay.
There is an increase in solar panels of just solar panels of 48,000 square feet. Within the 100-foot zone. And for instance, on this figure, you can see it's the green. You can see exactly where those additional panels are.
My sense is that these are more than minor changes.
Yeah, policy 85-4 really says it's for correcting errors like wrong file numbers or typographical errors, things like that, not really for changing the scope of the project.
So I agree. I think, the way this is phrased, relatively minor and unchanged or less impact on the interests of the act. So I don't think I can look at something that's increasing its impacts, just grading alone by more than half an acre and say in buffer zone and think that that's less impact. So short of, are there other members of the commission who wish to speak? I don't want to shortchange anyone. Cassie, has Michael Whittemore joined the commission, the meeting yet?
Actually, he's just joining right now.
Fantastic.
I would say that I would point out that all of this area will still have the same erosion controls as were proposed and approved back in 2019. So yes, there is some additional area of grading, but most of this grading is on the order of a couple of feet.
But it's grading that wasn't reviewed and approved in the original order. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So, Michael, good evening.
Hi there. I got held up.
Okay. We took an item out of agenda order. We took item, oh boy, 7L.
7L.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Beacon Solar at 50 Florence Road. Did you have a chance to review the materials that Cassie forwarded?
Yeah, I looked at it briefly. I don't have questions at this point.
Okay. So at this point, to summarize and make sure I'm on the right page here. The commission has not received a formal request. This is an informal inquiry as to whether or not the commission would consider this as a request for amended order of conditions or would require the filing of a new notice of intent. And barring receipt of a formal request for amended order of conditions, which we would review and make a motion on, I would have to say that based on the extent of changes presented and DEP's policy regarding amending orders, I'm not comfortable considering this as an amended order of conditions. I'm only one voice at the table, and so you take that for what you will. Other members of the board are welcome to opine, or it is completely within the applicant's discretion to submit a request for amended order of conditions for formal review. Would anyone else care?
Waste time and effort on such a thing if it's not acceptable to the commission. That's why we're here this evening.
Understood. Just acknowledging the formal process versus this informal discussion.
I think the scope is changing enough where it's outside just the amendment order of conditions that's described in this document. So I think a new filing needs to happen.
Okay. Any other members wish to voice their opinions at this time?
I think I've already stated that, but I concur in case that wasn't clear.
Okay. All right. So, Michael, did you have anything you wanted to add? Dan, and acknowledging Deborah has recused herself from this matter.
I agree that it would be, I think I would want to see this filed as a new notice of intent, given the change in scope.
Okay. Well, thank you. I think you've gotten the kind of the collective opinion relative to that matter. We appreciate your time and the graphic display of these changes. That's actually very helpful. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Good evening.
Bye.
All right, resuming agenda order. We have no public hearings or meetings and no requests for certificates of compliance. Deborah, I'm assuming you're back in the mix? Yes, thank you. Okay, enforcement actions. Cassie, any updates to highlight?
Yeah, I did have one. I reached out to Mr. Judd at 11 Button Road, and he was able to, because that was something that we wanted to do as springtime came around, which it seems to be finally here. So I reached out to him, and he actually said he was just about to reach out to me because he had spent last week. I can read you his message. Last week, I spent some time filling in the holes with the dirt piled next to them and restoring the area to the previous grading. I then spread mulch that was from chopped up branches over the area. I took another picture yesterday to show some vegetation is already starting to grow in the area. I'm not working back in my office, but you're welcome to go visit the area to confirm. The real steep part of the hill, I couldn't put any mulch on, but I figured that is basically the way it was before if you look at the other side of the creek. He has higher resolution pictures available, and he talks about difficulty in including the images. Those images are also provided in that update document I sent everybody. My plan was to do a site visit as soon as I could to see the state of things out there. And I think where the conversation left off last time was that the commission wasn't sure what the state of the plants were in that area beforehand, if there was significant vegetation or not. So we weren't sure what kind of replanting to require, if any. I don't know if it's still too early to say that, if it's too early in the season to be able to make that determination, but I'd be willing to go out there and look.
Okay. I think I'd appreciate you getting a look at it now. Just because, and right now is actually a really great time to get out and see what invasives are opening up since they get a head start on everything. And I think the multiflora rose and honeysuckle and barberries are definitely popping. So.
And fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can definitely set up that site visit and let y'all know when it is.
Okay. Anything else on the others? I would expect we'd be hearing from Cernak sooner than later.
Yeah, that's another springtime one. So I'll be reaching out to them. And then for CFN, for 10 O'Neill Street, I'm going to do a drive-by.
Sounds like a plan. Okay, that sounds reasonable. Maybe we can get some resolution on those other two very old items.
Yes.
Before the middle of the growing season. All right, any open space updates?
Yeah, for Echodale West, or Echodale Orchard area generally, I've reestablished communications with Jessica Applin of Land Stewardship Inc. And she was thinking, we got to do a reevaluation again because so much time has passed. But we do plan to do a site visit near the end of this month or early next month. She seemed to be leaning more towards early next month. So that would be more informative. We gave it a little longer to see what vegetation's coming in. So I'll keep you all posted on that as well.
Thank you. Okay. Compliance updates, other than the one that we took out of order, are there any items of note? Yeah,
two things. So first is for item I, for River Valley on 228 Northampton Street, 220 and 228, I should say. They have a request to remove the straw wattle that's along Northampton Street. Once they finish all the grading work, they're going to seed it, and they wanted to remove it so that they can get, they're going to go right up to the sidewalk to do that. So they wanted to get it out of the way for that. I did a site visit on the 7th, April 7th, and took pictures of everything, which I can share now if you guys want. I will pull those up then right now, but it looked like that wouldn't be necessarily unreasonable to me, just for that section. Let me show the pictures, you guys can see how you feel. And then also I did a general just site visit because it's springtime, just to see on the site where it's going on, like what the progress of the project is and general status of all the other erosion controls. So everything else looked good and it's coming along good. Okay, so let's see. So there's a lot of pictures in here as a result because I did that general visit, but I'll just zoom through to where the area in question is for potential straw wattle removal. This is back area. Okay, so this is kind of the middle of it. You can see they're in the process of like putting in these stormwater structures. It's obviously not a good time right now to remove those straw wattles, but it would be when they finish that. So this is kind of, you can see it starts in this little corner here. It's terminating to the stormwater structure. hopefully these keep going in order. Okay, yeah, so that stormwater structure's behind me at this point. The wattle goes along the sidewalk here. Here's the trench that they're working on that they want to get finished, graded.
So what is that wattle protecting?
There, back here is a resource area, and the buffer zone reaches over here, way at the end.
But what
So-
is, yeah, if it's not going to protect a down gradient resource area or a catch basin in Route 10 from mobilized soil, I don't see the value of keeping it there.
Yeah, that's kind of how I was feeling.
Oh, go back to that basin.
This is another area. This is not the same basin.
Okay.
This is not yet completed. This basin, obviously.
Needs
They're
to
gonna
be
need
cleaned out before it can be considered completed.
Yeah.
And it's washing out on the side slopes.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I know these pictures, unfortunately, are going to jump around a little. And there's the wetland areas over there. You kind of see the trees.
Yeah, I mean, that's on the completely opposite side of the road. So unless, go ahead.
The only question, which I can't tell from the pictures, is there potential for the soil to get rinsed across the sidewalk and into a catch basin on the close side of the road that then would dump over there?
Yeah, that's a good question. And, I'd have to look. I can go out again and look for that, because that's something, honestly, I didn't look to see if there's any as associated with the road catch basins. So I can check for that.
When that trench gets filled back in, it might, be pretty level and stable, so.
Yeah.
That's kind of what they were
that
thinking.
might take care of it.
Yeah. Like I said, yeah, this will be filled, and then they'll do seeding, and then they would remove the wattle. It's a closer picture. Oh, it's not a good one. No. Yep. Trench. Oh, I guess that's it. So yeah, I guess this area is kind of where it's ending. That's where the over here, like across the street, is where the resource area is, and then it kind of extends over here. So it's kind of a downslope from that area to this area.
So Cassie, what day did you say you took these photos?
These are on the 4th, on the 7th of April.
Okay. And how long did it, I'm just trying to see when it last rained relative to that date, because that one unfinished stormwater basin.
This is part of it. This is the other, that inlet was over here. Get back to that picture.
So you said this was the 7th or the 4th?
The 7th. Here's the entirety of that basin.
I'm just a little concerned that it has so much standing water in it, because, I mean, this isn't an official site by any stretch of the imagination. I could go to something slightly more official, but it was almost a full week ahead before that we had may have had any recorded precipitation. So none on the 6th, none on the 5th, none on the 4th, trace on the 3rd, less than 1/10 of an inch on the 2nd, and about 2/10 of an inch on the 1st. So I'm just in general being sensitive to stormwater systems being constructed as designed so that they can function as designed. I'm curious as to why that has, if you could check and see if that is supposed to, or get clarification on the status of this basin, and if it was supposed to infiltrate, because that seems like that shouldn't be holding water after almost a week.
Mm-hmm. No, okay, yeah, I could definitely do that, and that makes sense. So,
okay. Anyone else have? So you're going to follow up on this site for a couple of reasons.
Yep. So it sounds like what you guys are saying is the general consensus is like, yeah, it's okay to remove the wattle as long as it's done after the filling of the trench and the grading is completed, and that's fine.
And it's not likely to, the absence of the wattle isn't likely to affect the down gradient receptor.
Right, and any basins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So just to clarify, they want to remove the wattles so that they can like restore that area all in one fell swoop, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's my understanding.
Yeah. All right. I mean, yeah, as long as it's pretty flat, and it seems like the grass will grow in quickly before any of that soil would move someplace.
Right.
It seems to be all right.
Cassie, I'm assuming they're going to hydroseed. Can you verify?
I can verify that.
Okay.
Oh, cool. And then
I think, oh, go ahead.
no, it's okay. Go ahead.
I noticed a line of boulders in a field to the south too the other day. I guess I'm kind of thinking those are monuments delineating wetland boundary that we asked for, but it's been a while. I didn't quite remember.
I do remember I'm pretty sure this one had that was a condition, but what they've also done in one of these pictures, you can see it. Let's see. One of these. They put up these markers that say wetland boundary. So I don't know if that's like, is this the area that you're talking about where you're seeing the boulders?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So they might have done that in addition to that.
I saw them the other day as well, and that's what it looks like. They're all out along 10, or along the parallel to 10 along that border of the wetland.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can go through just generally just to give you guys an update from the site visit on everything else. So let's see. Basically, so yeah, this is that area we've already covered. You've seen the pictures of this basin. The basin that is holding water is behind me right now. There it is in detail. That's just this kind of very blurry picture of this box. So then along the I want to say the west, there's that fence in the existing property. Like the Route 10 is directly behind me, on the other end of the property. There's a stormwater structure that kind of goes along the property on that side. This is the other end of it. And then I should have a picture along it. So jumbled, sorry. Yeah, there we go. So this is all along it. So that basin that was holding water is over here. Route 10 is way over on the other side of the property. That all looked good, like it made sense. This is the rear, so the wetlands to the south are just to the left here. These outlets, the drainage kind of along the top. This is the existing outlet that was there. Erosion controls, everything's looking good. This is a stockpile of rocks.
There's some nice looking rocks there. Wonder where they're getting those from.
They probably dug them up, maybe. Maybe?
If it sounds like they're looking to get rid of them, let me know.
Okay, I will. They didn't say that though. This is a marker that's kind of in between where the wetland is and the parking lot. Like the parking lot is over kind of, I think, either to my left in this. They're gonna put up these purple martin boxes in those locations using, I should have a picture of it. It's like over here-ish is where they had marked that ground there. is a nightmare. Sorry, I don't know why it's so out of order when I took them. These logs, that's what they're going to be mounted on, is these logs.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, overall, okay, so yeah, more of this area, that existing basin, also holding water.
Yeah, again, things like, unless they were discharging dewatering effluent through the system, I don't understand why there's so much standing water on site. It doesn't seem to be, I mean, Dan Buttrick, correct me if I'm mistaken, but I thought infiltration was supposed to occur within 48 hours. Am I making stuff up?
That's about right, but during the construction period, things may not quite be operating properly. So there's that fine layer of silt in that basin we were looking at earlier, which will probably be scraped out when they convert it from a construction phase to a post-construction stormwater measure. But who knows? I can't explain why there'd be so much water in this level spreader thing.
I mean, this is a project that would have had to also have a local stormwater permit, right?
Yes.
So, Cassie, can you look into whether or not if there were requirements for the city engineer to be present during certain aspects of system construction and see whether or not they have done that?
I can definitely check that.
Their system isn't complete yet. They might be running a lot of water through what is complete.
Yeah, there are certain, I don't recall the specifics off the top of my head, but I know, I think I recall from Paul Street Extension that there were certain intervals, certain milestones in construction of the system that the engineering department or the DPW was supposed to observe to make sure that the system was getting set up in the right order, not just like the end when it's all underground. Making sure that things are the way they should be. But yeah, no, I agree with both you and Dan J that this is construction period and that the system isn't completely built yet.
It's a perfect preamble for our next item. Sounds good. I don't know if anybody has any other questions about this site at this time. I can go on to the next one.
Okay, please. Item M.
Those nice rocks.
Item M, Cassie, Easthampton School Committee.
Yep, that's it. So
number 151305.
So two things for this one. Again, I did a general site visit just because it's springtime and checked everything. But also the city received a complaint from a resident about some of the stormwater structures. They put in some silt fencing around them to try to keep them from getting kind of overrun with the loose construction sediment, and that had been kind of failing in some places. By the time we did the site visit, they had fixed that and had cleared that area as best their ability and reestablished that silt fencing. So I'm going to check that as well. This is going to have a million pictures, but hopefully I can do this in a reasonable way. So let's see. So this site visit was conducted on the 8th of April. And the other thing that I found, and Jay also was able to attend, which was great. The other thing that we found was that one of the stormwater structures in the rear of the building has been retaining water for some time and not draining. Pretty much, so they said it didn't drain. Wasn't empty like all summer, is what they said. So they said they were talking about how the soils are super clayey there. clay content in the soil, so it's hard, and they're thinking that they may potentially even have to try to make changes to the plan, which I informed them that, we need to go through the process of amended order, potentially a new NOI, things like that.
So
that area. No, go ahead.
Sorry. So I know you were not with the commission when the commission reviewed this project. Would it be possible for you to look at the file, like the stormwater report, particularly the on-site soils evaluation, and see what they logged for that general vicinity? Because if what the contractor is running into is significantly different from what was documented and designed around, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Especially on a site historically or anecdotally known for its water issues.
Right. Yeah, I think the way it was described to me, it has the site has the best of both worlds. It's very sandy in some spots and very clayey in others. That's how it's been described. So that was the main thing that stood out to me from this visit. Otherwise, everything looked good in terms of erosion controls. They had fixed, this was the area where the that problem had occurred, and you can see the old silt fencing. I guess they just left it, and they put new silt fencing in, and they cleaned out the sediment that had made it in there. They left this area. They've seeded other areas, and you'll see that in some of the other pictures. That's what's underneath this black top, I think, or it's in the process of, they're like getting to that stage where they're going to, but they left this because they're going to do another connection that it's just not done yet.
So they're going to seed on top of the what?
No, not on top of this like thing. I think that.
Yeah, they're going to remove that stone, that small crushed stone, and clean that up. They're just leaving it there to keep it erosion out of the area. Then they're going to take all the plastic off and take the small stone out.
Yeah,
that makes much better sense.
Kind of like same story. There's a lot of stormwater structures still under construction. A lot of soil. Loose soil moving around in them, and it's definitely something that is in their best interest to keep on top of. It needs to be addressed certainly by the end if they're going to try to get a certificate of compliance or anything like that. Okay, so this is part of the one that has the standing water in the rear of the property. This is just the inlet in this kind of riprap area. This is just towards the rear of the basin with the water, and it is like kind of behind me and to the left. These are the controls extend outside of the scope of work at this phase up that way towards the existing school. This is near the rotary. The erosion controls are intact, doing good over there. Wetlands to the right.
Well, can you go back a photo?
Yes. Yes.
Was that side slope really supposed to be riprap that whole way?
I feel like I remember seeing that in the plan in the reviews that I looked at.
Can we double check that?
Yeah, that doesn't seem right to me either.
I can check that.
Thank you.
Okay. I'll let you know about that one at the next meeting. This is the one that had the breach that a resident made a complaint about again. So this is to the north of the property. The basin that's holding water at the rear is up ahead and to the right slightly. But basically there's wetlands all along this edge here. Now we're back at the front of the school again, looking up towards everything. There's another basin over here. And then there's that kind of outlet towards the brook down here.
Did you get a look down at the stream?
I did, yep.
And how is it looking?
So, zoom ahead.
That was not.
Okay, this is the, nope, not that one. That's across from the stream. Okay, so this is above. There's the riprap and there's an outlet here. And then that's the stream down below.
Yeah. Do you have a shot from the stream looking up or from the other side of the stream? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, let's see here.
Mm.
Oh, nope, this is a little bit farther back from that other image that showed
Can
like
you
the
go back
riprap.
another one or two? That one.
Yep. So
So
yeah.
that failed. Is that in a stormwater basin?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they still have, how is the sediment getting to the other side of the silt fence? Is it going under it?
I guess that'd be my guess.
So they need to clean that out. Or it's a spot that needs to be cleaned out before it vegetates. And
Yeah, it looks like it went under it.
I mean, that's just not the I'm guessing that's not the type of soil they're supposed to have in there, even if it vegetates.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Yes, this is looking up
Okay.
from the stream, and I think hopefully I have a better picture. More from the inside of the stream.
Ooh.
May not.
Well, I didn't see any sediment accumulation on the riprap below the outlet, so that's encouraging.
Yep, and I can say like confidently that here's another.
Although trash.
Yeah, there's trash. But I didn't find any sediment like.
Oh, go back to
This one?
one more.
Yeah, at the tail end of the riprap, it did
There
look
it
like
is.
there was.
Yeah.
I might have. Let me see if I have one more picture. Then hopefully it will be good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I guess not. That's the end of it.
Okay, so there are definitely some areas of sedimentation that need to be addressed. That needs to get cleaned up before it gets washed into the stream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
And that.
And then things with like the sediment in the stormwater structures.
They're supposed to clean those out
Yeah.
before, the project's complete. And if they need to clean them out more frequently because it's washing sediment into the rest of the system, then that's what they have to do.
Right. So they still have a silt fence down at the bottom as well.
Mm-hmm. I don't see any signs of erosion from the adjacent uplands here. It's the end of that. The concern is if there's deposition, there's material moving through the pipes and depositing in that velocity dissipation pad riprap area. That's eventually going to get washed into the stream. And the goal is that they will be able to keep it at the riprap's there to slow water down.
Right.
Not trap sediment.
Gotcha. All right, so just like interior of the site. Let's see.
That didn't look good either.
I'm just trying to get to that that basin. So yeah, like it's holding water, and it's definitely something they're thinking. Definitely like a significant change is going to be needed because.
It's been holding water all year, I think they said.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and then it has like this strange. I don't know what that is.
It looked like a cave in, but I don't think water's getting out of the area. I think it looks like that just caved in.
Is it just saturating and slopping?
Yes, I guess so. We didn't get close to it because it didn't look that safe to walk on.
So, Cassie, I think it's reasonable to tell the engineer and the contractor that the commission's going to expect some, to hear their recommended corrective actions before they're implemented. Because it doesn't seem that the system is going to function as it was presented to us. And
yeah.
Parts of it are actively failing,
yeah.
deteriorating. So,
right. So you're talking about for all the stormwater structures, we need to know what those corrective actions are going to be.
If they need to come up with something.
Mm-hmm. Are you talking about specifically just for this basin that's retaining water, and the other ones?
Pretty much anyone that's holding water, anyone that's got accumulated sediment, that, just hearing that they have a plan to clean things out before finalizing the system and handing it off to the city.
Yeah, definitely. That was discussed at the site visit. They're trying to keep on top of it, is what they said, and they've just actively been checking them when they do the monitoring reports and things like that. They're looking for things like that and then trying to just clean them periodically while the site is so unstable generally. So, but I can see like maybe trying to get like something in writing, it sounds like you'd like. And then for this other one, we discussed like this is going to be much more involved. You're going to have to come for the standing water basin. If you think you're going to have to change the plan, then you need to come talk to us. Yeah.
Well, and also, if overall site stability is an issue, I guess how is that compliance with their SWIP?
Mm-hmm.
Do they have any erosion sedimentation? Like, are the stockpiles issues? Is it just like is it just disturbed ground that hasn't vegetated or otherwise been stabilized? Like, what are the sources and how are they managing those?
Gotcha. Yep, that sounds good. They also said that they'd be willing to come to commission meetings if we'd like and talk about this as well.
I'd really rather them, when they're ready to come up, to present some solutions. It's not the commission's place to make recommended corrective actions at this, other than like, you need to meet this standard. This is what the design was for. They have obligations under their SWIP, which is also covered under the Stormwater Management Standards for the Wetlands Protection Act.
So it sounds like there's two different categories of issues. There's housekeeping issues and then also like actual design issues, right? Mm-hmm. So they could come in the next meeting and talk about housekeeping issues. Maybe they probably should. Mm-hmm. That's probably more the contractor, but then like the engineer, if they have the actual design issues to raise, that's when we really should hear about it. But it should probably be pretty soon, because the more time that passes, like the lower the chances are that
we're going to run out of growing season before they know it, even though we're just getting started.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be a whole nother winter of unstable site, which I feel like sounds a little dramatic mid-April, but it's mid-April. I don't know what their schedule is, but the growing season's they're really only going to get anything sprout with any significance maybe by early to mid-October is when that cutoff is kind of going to happen for actual like vegetative stabilization, and even then it's pushing it. And if we have a dry summer, then that's going to be a challenge too.
Yeah. It's going to be a long there. I forget when the school is supposed to be completed, but then it's going to be, demolition of the old school and like all the other site improvements. So probably 2 years out, I would guess.
It'd be nice to know an update on their timeline and sequence.
Yeah, I don't have like a super detailed one that I can give you, but I did ask them about that. Let's see. I'm trying to remember. Jay, I don't know if you remember, but I didn't write it down, but they were saying that they were even trying to, I think that everything is still on schedule despite COVID. They're trying to like stay on top of that. potentially even trying to get things done ahead of schedule.
Yeah, they're having problems getting raw materials, bricks and things like that. So they're trying to work inside and things in parallel. Like before the outside was finished, they're inside doing finish work on the classrooms just to, to try to work where they have materials and try to keep it moving forward.
Mm-hmm. But I think to Dan's point is the school is just one part of the
right.
phase, and there's actually a lot more. The school being done isn't the end of the project.
That's correct.
Right.
And the rest of the project is also a lot of site ground disturbance and instability. So.
Very cool.
Okay.
So it sounded like I could definitely make a request to them to come to speak to the housekeeping stuff on the 26th.
I'm open to that.
All right, cool. All right.
Okay, so any other highlights?
No other for ongoing projects. Yeah, no other updates for ongoing projects.
Okay. Anyone have any questions about anything, Julie?
Yeah, I sent Cassie a handful of minutes ago some pictures from the White Brook Broadbrook project. I don't know, Cassie, if those came through, if you want to pull them up. I was in the park the day that it was raining, whenever that was, a week or week and a half ago, and noticed a few things.
Let me see if I can find it. I don't think I got that.
It didn't come through. I sent it like 10 minutes ago while we were talking about that one.
Oh, hold on. Oh, I got that now. No, sorry, I don't think I got the original one. Yeah, these look new to me.
No, I just sent them. I just remembered to send them.
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I thought you sent them a week ago. Sorry.
No, I was out walking a week or whenever that last kind of larger storm was.
Got you.
Medium storm. I don't know. I was very wet, so it felt large.
Can you all see this?
Which way should I turn my head?
Turn your head to the right. The top is at the right of the screen. This is just the edge. This is back at the, which one is this? This is the bigger one. Is that Broadbrook? Yeah, I think. This is the Broadbrook one. Just the edge where the road comes down to the, what now looks kind of like a pond area is kind of a mess and not really stable. I don't remember what it looked like before they did the work, but I would say it is not stable now. There's some large, like on the road, there's sections where there's piles of riprap still, and I'm not sure what that's about, but there's also a section where you can see the riprap is making its way over what was the core log into, or the straw wattle into edge of the wetlands there.
Okay. So the piles aren't attempts at a check dam or something like that. I'm
not sure. The piles, I didn't take a picture of the piles, but they look haphazard to me. They don't look like they were meant to be a check dam. And they're like a couple feet tall. It's kind of odd. It looks like they just left a material stockpile in the middle of the road. And this is a little bit down gradient from that. So this isn't one of the piles, but it's just an area where the riprap is escaping. And this is kind of just upstream or up gradient of that first picture where the actual access road comes up to the edge of the water. And then the last one, if you scroll down, Cassie, is at the other site at White Brook. There's a catch basin there on the right side. Well, on both sides, I think on both sides of the roads, there's catch basins. And the silt socks are still in there, so they're just flooding the road. And I imagine those should have been removed by now.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what it looks like. And that's my dog's ear. So.
And that's Luna. You know?
Yeah.
She has very cute ears. Yeah, Cassie, I think Jamie is the contact on this one.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's a good person to communicate with next.
Gotcha. Yep, I can definitely do that.
And if, yeah, especially, I mean, we do have an inch of rain in the forecast Thursday. Is it Thursday this week? Anyone?
I think so. Late Thursday or
Thursday into Friday. So it would be, it would probably be good if you can send Jamie an email tonight or tomorrow, or reach out to her. Even if the DPW could send Parks and Rec, or the DPW could send someone to take the silt sacks out of the catch basins so that the road doesn't flood and overtop the slope or flow down the slope.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
Thank you. Okay. Tonight's theme is stormwater. Okay. Anyone else? Bueller. Good. Going once, going twice. General business, meeting minutes, March 8th, 2021. Anyone?
Motion to approve the minutes from March 8th.
Is there a second?
second?
All those in favor, roll call vote. August.
Aye.
Busa.
Aye.
Buttrick.
Abstain. I think I was not there.
Ryan.
Absent with notice. Aye.
Whittemore.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. Who has not done their yearly conflict of interest training? I will finish it soon. Thank you. All right. I guess the only other thing, Cassie, we received a filing for our next meeting.
That's correct. We just got the DEP file number and comments today. So
Okay.
I'll be adding those to the file.
Excellent.
Good comments, in my opinion. And
Okay.
what was the other thing I was going to say? Site visit scheduled for the 21st. Rain date for the 22nd.
What's a rain date?
I know, I was surprised. I was like, ooh, okay.
Okay. So August 21st, April 21st at 2 p.m. Okay. And our next meeting is the 26th. All right. Does anyone think they'll be able to go to the site visit?
I think so.
Okay.
What day is the 21st?
I believe it's a Wednesday. Let me double check. Yes, Wednesday, the 21st at 2 p.m. Meeting at the end of Duda Drive.
I'll have to check. I'm not sure if I can make that.
I will pencil it in.
I also know that I will not be available on the 26th. I have another meeting that I have to be at that night.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Anything else before I entertain a motion to adjourn?
It's Mike, real quick. That Pleasant Street property where they're going to build that pool hall, was there any update on that?
So they're still going through the other permitting processes, I think with planning and or zoning. I can't remember which one.
Okay.
There could potentially be changes to the plan as a result, is my understanding, that is not a definite thing at this stage. So they may be coming back. And I know that there's clearing happening at that upper area, and I informed them that they have to stay outside of the buffer zones for any kind of clearing work, and inform them of that.
Okay. Yeah, they've been working there the past couple of days, burning trees and clearing brush and. Okay, thank you.
Cassie, do you know if they've recorded their order?
I don't believe so. I can double check right now, but I don't think so.
Okay. No,
No, and that's usually a pre-construction requirement that
Yeah.
I make sure is at least before they do the pre-construction stage of things. So,
And the only other thing I have to say real quick is, as a outside of the commission, as a resident of Holly Circle, the solar farm on 232 Park Street, I've been hearing a lot of crashing noises. So at least 10 to 15 trees, at least 50-foot trees have fallen on the south side of array number 2. It just seems like a disaster area, like 15 trees have fallen down onto the city property. Is there a remedy, or can someone take a look? It just looks like everything is falling down on the south side of that array number 2. All the south side trees are just collapsing.
Like just getting blown over?
Yeah, but with like the whole root system and all, it's like 12 feet high. All the 60-foot trees are just toppling over, and it's all soaking wet. So I'm not sure. We had a windstorm couple of weeks ago. It just seems weird that all these trees are just falling down.
Cassie, can you look into that?
yeah, definitely.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
All right, anything else before we part ways?
Question.
Yeah.
So I recused myself for Beacon Solar for their request. If they come in with a new NOI, because it'll be no, can I then be part of the hearing? Or should I continue to recuse?
No, I mean, if you're not an abutter.
No.
I mean, you could always reach out to the state and make that inquiry.
Okay.
And I think that would be probably better than, unless Cassie knows of someone in the city to ask, but I think that would probably be the most prudent course of action rather than the commission, kind of guessing.
Yeah, Deb, I was looking at the MACC handbook. They have a little section on this, and that's kind of what they said too, is look out, I don't know if the city has a resource that is, but also of course there's the state. So I can get that information to you. I just need to see if there is someone with the city that would make more sense than going straight to the state. So, but yeah.
Yeah, it's Mike. And we can talk too, because with the solar farm, I reached out to Boston, and I think it's an abutter to a butter within 150 feet or 300 feet. I forgot which.
Okay.
So they advised me if I was had a conflict or not.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. So, on that note, would anyone care to make 2 peace? Victory?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? August. Pusa.
Aye.
Buttrick.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Whittemore.
Aye.
Motion carries. See you all in the future.
Okay.
Thank
Good night,
you,
everybody.
Kathy. Good night,
Bye.
everybody.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye, everyone.
How much longer are we going to be doing?